Welcome to Let's Learn Together, a podcast from the East Greenbush Central School District. I'm Meta Weisenburn, a senior at Columbia High School, and your guest host for this episode. This past fall, Superintendent Jeff Simons announced he would be retiring at the end of the school year. It marks the end of 9 years leading the East Greenbush Central School District and 33 years in education. On today's episode, our public information specialist, Mark Adam, has a conversation with Mr. Simons about his time in East Greenbush, the many accomplishments our district has achieved under his leadership, some of the obstacles we faced and overcame together, and what he hopes for our district moving forward. A little later on, students tell us their favorite moments from this school year. Our staff profile features Goff School social worker Kayla Sweet, and we hear from teachers and staff who are retiring at the end of the school year. Now, let's learn together.
Welcome to a conversation with Superintendent Jeff Simons, who is retiring at the end of this school year. My name is Mark Adam, and I am the Public Information Specialist for the East Greenbush Central School District. It is fitting that we feature Mr. Simons in this final episode of the school year because launching a podcast for our school district was his idea back in the fall of 2023. He wanted to find a new way of sharing the important topics from our district with the school community. This is our 37th episode, and so far we've covered all areas of East Greenbush schools. School safety, mental health, reading, math, art, music, PE, recess, food services, special education, character education, and much more. In a moment, we hear from Mr. Simons about his career in education, his 9 years leading our district, all of the amazing accomplishments we have earned, some of the challenges we have overcome together, and what he hopes for our school district moving forward. Mr. Simons, welcome to Let's Learn Together.
Good morning. Thank you, Mark.
So first, I just want to read off some of the accomplishments that we have achieved during your 9-year tenure. We've been named a top workplace by the Albany Times-Union 3 times. We've been voted best school district the last 4 years in the Times-Union Best of the Capital Region contest. Green Meadow was named a National Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Department of Education in 2021. Our schools have been named to the U.S. News Best Schools report multiple times. Red Mill was named a recognition school by the State Education Department. We've passed every school budget and 2 capital projects. We've been highly ranked in our ELA and math scores in the Capital Region. We started a pre-K program in the fall of 2021, which now serves 165 children each year. We've built partnerships with colleges to include college credit courses for our high school students. We've grown our technical education partnership with Questar 3 BOCES. So it's a long list, and I haven't even covered everything. My first question to you, when you think about what we've accomplished, what are you most proud of?
Mark, well, I want to thank you for sharing the list of the district's accomplishments. The first thing I would have to acknowledge is that no superintendent can accomplish anything for students or for a school district without the focus and the leadership of our Board of Education and the cooperation and support of our faculty and staff and a great community that supports the school district. So while those list of accomplishments occurred during my tenure, it was a team effort. I think the thing I'm most proud of is the reasons why I think we've accomplished so much. My leadership philosophy as a school leader has always been that if we can engage our community and we can engage our faculty and staff in working together as a team, the more productive teamwork that occurs within a school district, the better the results are going to be. And I think through my time here, what I've tried to do is to promote the idea that as we lead, we also have to take under consideration the ability of the school district to always work together to accomplish its goals. So I think what I'm most proud of is there is an atmosphere of cooperation, of support, and teamwork within the school district that has contributed to the list of things that we've been able to accomplish as a district. So in reflection on retirement, I would say that, that team spirit, that there's no problem great enough that we can't solve it through working together. I think that's, hopefully a legacy that I will leave the district for the future.
You talk about that collaboration. As the superintendent of schools, you're the leader of our school district. A lot of people probably don't know what you do day in and day out, or on the evenings or the weekends, because that's a part of the job too. What's something that the public might not know about your role as the superintendent?
I work with a lot of different people, really 24/7 within the school district. During the day, I'm working with my administrative team, with you, with the teachers, typically through the committees that we have, collaborating with the various unions that represent our employees. And in the evenings, I'm often fielding emails from the community or sharing information with our Board of Education regarding things that are happening in the school district. So I think perhaps the level of interaction that I have with people is not maybe as well understood. And all superintendents, we're always working with people. It's an important aspect of the job, and it happens at all hours of the day. Sometimes before I arrive at work, I'm up at 5:30. In the winter, I'm up at 3:30 for snow days. But I'm usually emailing or texting or communicating during the hours as I'm trying to get ready to go to work to make sure that things are dealt with in a timely manner that may occur in the early mornings.
And that also spans outside the school district. You have a lot of relationships with the towns and the police chiefs and our state legislators. So, it's more broad than just our school district as well.
One thing I didn't realize when I was a principal or an assistant superintendent is how important that leadership, collaboration with municipal officials, with other superintendents in the region is. Being a collaborative leader within the region is important because it provides resources, opportunities, and ideas to help strengthen our district. So, for example, with the capital project, we always reached out to talk with our town boards about what we were doing, why we were doing it, and what the proposal entailed. With my colleague superintendents, primarily through Questar BOCES, but also the Suburban Council, I learn a lot. I learn how other districts are dealing with issues. I get to share information about how we're approaching things. And that idea of professional collaboration is really important because superintendents that typically are not successful or don't have longevity that I've been fortunate to have tend to isolate themselves. So that's something that I have always been cognizant of, is the need to be a collaborative leader and to work with people within the region to make sure that we're successful.
You've spent the last 9 years as our superintendent of schools. This is your 33rd year in education. You started your career as an elementary teacher, then you worked as a curriculum and staff development specialist, then a principal, assistant superintendent, and a superintendent prior to coming here. What have you enjoyed about each of those different roles throughout your career?
I love being a teacher. I was a first, second, and third grade teacher, and I think as a superintendent, I bring a mindset to my work as a teacher. That's one of the things I shared with the staff when I first came here on opening day was I hope that they would see me as kind of a teacher on special assignment, that while I'm making a budgetary decision that may be a difficult decision, or a decision about what we can support in terms of a policy or even the facilities projects, I try to look at it through the lens of education and what the impact of those various components of my job will be on the kids. So I enjoyed being a teacher. As a principal, there's an opportunity to have closer levels of interaction with teachers and families than I am able to enjoy as a superintendent, and I enjoyed that collaboration with school community as a principal. The assistant superintendent for curriculum role is probably less challenged by issues such as personnel or finance, but it's a really important role in that you get to work with educators to try to put curriculum and professional development programs in place that raise achievement for the kids or provide new opportunities for the kids. So I think I've enjoyed every single role, but getting to the superintendency has been probably the most rewarding as it is the most challenging, because at the end of the day, you may go through a difficult thing such as the pandemic or through a difficult budget situation. At the end of the day, it's kind of like coming through the storm and seeing the sunshine again, because when you go back in those classrooms in September, for example, visit a kindergarten class or a pre-K class or walk through the high school or middle school, you see the kids learning and generally enjoying themselves, engaging with their teachers, and it makes it all worth it.
You just mentioned the pandemic. I was going to ask you what has been your biggest challenge over the last 9 years. As a second part to that question, how did you navigate that challenge? So what has been your greatest challenge as our superintendent?
During the pandemic, there were a lot of situations where superintendents struggled to manage that. There was a lot of superintendent turnover that occurred during the pandemic. If you remember, during the pandemic, it wasn't only that we were challenged by the state rules, social distancing, students wearing masks to school. It became very politicized, and schools were placed right in the crossfires of political discussions at the national and at the state level. So those dynamics were challenging during the pandemic, but I think communication, engaging with the community, making sure that people understood that what our limits were really important. So I would say the pandemic, coming through it, was one of the most challenging experiences I've had as a superintendent, but I also would say it was one of the most rewarding, because through that process, our administrative team, all of our principals, central office staff, and directors and I really came together as one unit, and you, Mr. Adam, in terms of all working together. So it's kind of like when you, to use a sports analogy, and I did play sports when I was in high school, when you come through a tough game or a tough practice, you're better for it, and your team is better for it, and there's a greater level of closeness. So while that pandemic was difficult and probably the most difficult thing that we've experienced here, I think the benefit of it was we grew as an administrative team together in service to the students and the community.
Does going through something like that then give you the confidence that you can handle anything?
Well, I don't know about anything, but that was pretty unique. We were working through the holiday breaks, fielding calls from the county health department regarding contact tracing. We were working with situations where we'd find out about a new state policy change on a Friday night, and families wanted to know what to anticipate when their students were coming back to school on Monday. So,
or even just the initial switch to virtual learning.
Right. Virtual learning was a quite a heavy lift. I do think it. You're going back to your original question. I do think coming through that kind of gave us a sense of pride as an administrative team and as our faculty and staff that we really could handle anything. And the greatest thing that came out of the pandemic was it reinforced for me how terrific our people are. Our teachers, our support staff, our administrators did a terrific job. And while we did come under some criticism because we were limited by our classroom space, we couldn't bring all the kids back when we wanted to full in-person learning, our results show that what we did during the pandemic and after the pandemic in terms of we invested our federal resources have worked. Our scores are some of the tops in the region. So that level of confidence was increased, I think, and not only as myself as a leader, but as the district can really handle anything if we all work together. Again, going back to my original comment to your first question. I don't think there's anything that's can't be accomplished with when we work together.
Your last day as our superintendent is June 30th. And then Dr. Curtis Coates, your successor, will be coming in July 1st. You've been a central player in this transition from your administration to Dr. Coates. What are your hopes for Dr. Coates and for our district moving forward?
Well, I think the board made an excellent choice in picking Dr. Coates. I think he comes to the district with experience as a superintendent. He's also been an assistant superintendent and a high school principal. I've never been a high school principal, so I think he may bring some different experiences that I didn't bring to the district as a superintendent. I think he will be very successful here. I think he brings a similar philosophy to his work about the importance of collaboration and working with everyone within the community for the benefit of the students. So, and again, not everything is perfect in our district. There are issues that still need to be addressed. We have increasing challenges with students and with unique needs that they're presenting in the classroom. We have concerns about how do we work with community agencies to provide for more access to student mental health services. So there's a lot of work still to be done, and I think Dr. Coates is the right person to lead that work, and I wish him well. And I think he comes into a district that has a strong history of being centered on the needs of the community, and I think that Dr. Coates will do a terrific job and also have a lot of support here.
June 30th is your last day. July 1st, what are you going to be doing?
Taking a little time off. At this point, it's an interesting question. I've been obviously this is an odd time for me. As you said, I've worked for 33 or 34 years in education. And I've never not worked since I delivered newspapers when I was 12 years old at 6 o'clock in the morning. So what I'm going to do with my time is challenging. I will probably work in some kind of part-time capacity in education doing something. That's still yet to be determined. And secondly, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with my family and picking up some hobbies that I've not been able to do or not chosen to do in a long time. What those are, I'm not sure yet. I used to fish when I was a kid. I enjoy fishing. I might do that again. I'm a horrible golfer, but I may try that more consistently than what I've done. And just travel. My wife will continue to work. My youngest daughter is still in college. So I don't have the total flexibility to travel when we want, but doing more of that and exercising regularly and taking care of myself, I think those are some of the things on my list.
Sleeping in, not texting and emailing at 6 a.m.
Sleeping in is tough now, not just because of my age. I think as you get older, you wake up earlier. I wake up on Saturdays and Sundays still at 5:30 in the morning, and getting back to sleep is, if I can rewire myself to be able to go back to sleep, that would be terrific. It will feel strange at first, I think, not to get as many emails and text messages as I get right now. But I think I will eventually enjoy that reprieve. And, when you retire, and they say this in some of the literature on retirement, is you worry about your identity a little bit because you've been so focused on your work for so many years. You worry about isolation, being isolated from people. I love people. So I worry a little bit about, still having the opportunity to, meet with people, engage with people, interact with people on a regular basis. I'm sure that will happen. But doing it on my own terms and doing it on my own time and doing it with a little bit more ability to be flexible in how I approach my day, those are all the things I'm kind of looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard you say this at a number of retirement ceremonies for our teachers and staff that we're always looking for substitutes. So a substitute teacher, substitute bus driver. I'll just put that out there that we're always in need of good people. So.
I don't know that I have that. You could probably ask my wife for her opinion on this. I have been known not to be able to back up my own car very well, so I don't know about backing up a school bus with a lot of young children on it. I don't know if that's within my skill set, but I started my career as a substitute teacher. In fact, I subbed in 6 different districts, and so I would get that 5:30, 6 o'clock call in the morning, and I enjoyed doing it. So you never know. Maybe I will throw my head in as a substitute teacher, and obviously if there were opportunities that came up for me to do short-term administrative work, I'd be happy to do it.
As you reflect back on your time in education, we're kind of in a crisis in, the number of teachers and, people not going into education as much anymore. What would your pitch be to someone, in high school or college that, they might be thinking about education, they might not at all? What would your pitch be to have them try this as a career?
I would say that the rewards of being a teacher or an administrator in a public school district are tremendous. And you may not realize that when you're coming through school and in high school, junior or senior year, trying to think about where you might want to go with your career, but the payoffs are enormous. Not necessarily in the salaries or the benefits or summers off. You hear that quite a bit. Teaching is hard work, but it is rewarding work because you do have a tremendous impact on students. As I've been thinking about my own retirement, my first teaching experience was teaching physical education in 2 different Catholic schools, 1 day a week at one and 2 another. And I still remember the children in those classes. I still remember the kids in my first grade class, my first year of teaching. And I remember them because as you invest as a teacher in trying to do the best that you can to instruct them and to work with them in the classroom, you get to know them as individuals and they get to know you. And I have students now from my first real classroom, that first grade classroom, who I do communicate with at times. And you make a special difference in the lives of kids. And I think there's no greater reward than teaching. And I think that the profession has become a little bit more challenging because of some of the politics and the criticism, unfair criticism of our teachers. They do a great job, but you've got to develop a kind of an awareness that you're in this for the kids. You're not in it for yourself. You're in it for the kids. And if you have that spirit of wanting to make a difference for kids, then moving into a career in public education, there's no better option.
If you could talk to our students, our staff, our families, what would your departing message to them be?
I think I would say continue to believe that you have an impact on children, which has an impact on the future. Every single person that works for this school district, every single student, every single parent has an impact on the future. And over the course of the 9 years that I've been so fortunate to be here, I think that sometimes in the stress of dealing with issues that public schools deal with, people need to take a little bit more time to pause and say, well, what are we here for? We're here to make a difference for kids and to help them build and shape their futures. And if people can remember that, that's what we're here for. Take a pause, take a breath when times of stress occur. And just remember, at the heart of all of this is our mission to make sure that every student, every member of our community feels like they belong, it feels like they make a difference for kids. And I think that's the most important thing I would like to leave with everybody.
What is your favorite moment, if you can remember one specific moment from your 9 years here?
That's a tough one. I've had many good moments. Well, I would have to say that in terms of the day-to-day, there are those small moments that are important to you, when you interact with the kids and you see the opportunities that they're being provided and get to see the kids shine. One of the things, I guess, and thinking about it is when we weren't sure that we were going to be able to have a graduation during the pandemic, and I kind of like a football coach, I met with everybody on the center of the field, and I said to our grounds people, I think you might have been there, Mark, and our maintenance folks and administrators, we got to figure out a way to do this and do it outside, and we pulled it off, and it was a really nice ceremony. And they didn't give us a lot of lead time. They told us we could have one, the state meeting, and we had to turn around and figure it out. So I think the times that I like the best, and I think about the best and appreciate the best and been here, is when the odds were very challenging, whether it be the pandemic, whether it be the most recent budget, whether it be a $116 million capital project, whether it be an educational program that we weren't sure we were going to be able to have or not have, that seemed like we weren't going to be able to do it, and we pulled it together. And why did we pull it together? We pulled it together because of the teamwork. Because of the teamwork that we have embedded within our school district. So I think those are my special moments when things were tough. We weren't sure we were going to be able to accomplish what we ultimately set out to do, and we did.
Any final thoughts?
I wish everybody well here in the East Greenbush School District. I thank everybody. Since I announced my retirement in November, I think it was. Almost every week, somebody says to me, "Are you counting the days?" And I haven't been counting the days, but I've been counting the number of people, including many here in East Greenbush, who have helped me along the way, who have made me successful. And without their support, without their help, without their encouragement, I would not have been able to be or reach the level of being the superintendent of a premier school district in New York State. So my final thoughts are thanks to everybody for helping me, for supporting me, and for guiding me along the way.
Well, thank you, Mr. Simons. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I can honestly say East Greenbush Central School District is in a better place with you leaving it than when you got here. So thank you for all your hard work, and best wishes in retirement.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
And now, students tell us about their favorite moments from this school year.
Hi, I'm Braylee. I'm a 5th grade student at Belltop Elementary, and my favorite part of the school year was hanging out with all of my teachers.
Hi, I'm Louise. I'm a kindergartner, and I'm in Belltop. I liked the scoop chairs. We used them at reading centers and for chair day.
Hi, my name is Tempe, and I'm from 6th grade Golf Middle School, and my favorite part of the school year was making new friends and seeing the new teachers.
My name is Merrick McGuffin. I'm a 6th grader at Golf Middle School, and my favorite memory of the school year was the day before Christmas break when we all got to watch movies and hang out with kids from other teams. We got to choose what movie we wanted, choose what cool chairs we sat in, and really did anything we wanted to do that day.
Hi, my name's Tucker. I'm from 6th grade Golf Middle School. My favorite moment of the school year is meeting a lot of new people.
For today's staff profile, we feature Goff School social worker Kayla Sweet.
Good morning, I'm Kayla Sweet. I'm a social worker here at Goff Middle School. As a school social worker, I have my LMSW, my licensed master social worker, and we work with students who have IEPs and 504s, and we provide their counseling similar to how speech would provide speech. Social workers provide counseling, at least here in our district, so that can be weekly, monthly, whatever is on their official document. And then we also provide informal counseling. So if they're having tough days, if they're, having some larger behaviors that require a bit more intervention, we would be called to assist in that. And then we also work with students in the building who we would consider like non-mandated. So those are any students having just a tough time or any troubling life experience. My coworker Jamie or I would work to support them alongside the other school staff. And we also run like our feeding program, which is about 25 kids, I think, this year. That's a weekly food distribution to help supplement their food needs over the weekend. And then we have like a mentoring program. We do a lot of like educational presentations that we help coordinate or present ourselves. A lot of coordination with outside providers to help support our students, mental health, food access, summer camps, making sure that that's all set up for our kids when they leave our building, when they're in our building. So a lot of coordination, kind of like a liaison position. Our position's much more than the position description, and every day is different, but those are kind of the key focuses of what a social worker does. When I was growing up, I'm from the Adirondacks. I'm from a really small town, so my whole world was my school. Anything I wanted to do, anytime I wanted to be involved or meet people, it was all in my school. There wasn't a lot of like stuff outside. So I was in every club, I joined every sport, I was in the musicals, I did everything, and that made me buy into my education more. And rural poverty is, it's much different than urban poverty or, any suburban socioeconomic issues. So I just really fell in love with the connection between education and kids being kids, specifically supporting students who are in that underneath that poverty line or coming from a tough home. So I kind of fell in love with service and supporting students. And then I got into like mission work. And when I went to college, I found, social work, you can go to school to help people or support people. And then my love kind of, traveled that way. So I'm very, very lucky, and it's definitely the right fit for me. I've been with East Greenbush since I started my undergraduate degree. We have to do field work for our bachelor's, and I actually did my internship with Audrey DeBacco at the high school. So I was really lucky there. So that was my senior year of my bachelor's. That's 2020. We did have the pandemic hit about halfway or 3/4 of the way through my internship. So it got ended a little bit early, but I was in that role, and I was supporting Audra and making connections with students, and that's when I really fell in love with school social work. Then I took a couple years to work during the pandemic, went back and got my master's, and now this is my second year officially working as the middle school social worker here at Goff. It really does feel like a family. I was texting with the other social workers today, so I feel like I connect with everyone on a personal level. And professionally, it is a larger school, so there's always people to bounce things off of. There's a lot of comfort in having, some of the structure that we have here at Goff. We have assistant principals for every grade. We, of course, have Mr. McHugh as our building principal. So there's a lot of support here emotionally, socially, and then, of course, like in the building itself, I always feel like I can lean on people professionally to support the students ultimately. So in my free time, last night I just bought a house officially. I just closed on a house and they got engaged. So I think I'm going to be doing a lot of housework, some planning and revamping, maybe some wedding planning. So I think that's going to take up all of my free time moving forward. But otherwise, I love to travel. My sister lives in Spain and I studied abroad in South Africa. So I love to travel. Since I bought a house, I'll probably stay close to home now. But just being with family is a very big deal for me.
Now, teachers and staff who are retiring at the end of the school year reflect on their careers in education. We wish them all the best in retirement.
Hi, everyone. This is Tanya Maxtat, and I teach 4th grade at DPS. And I am retiring. Very thrilled to be retiring. I plan on doing a lot of traveling and hanging out with my 2 girls. And I'm also going to volunteer at DPS in the library. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to miss all of my friends and colleagues that I've worked with over the years because they have been amazing. And the kids, of course, they are going to be missed a lot. But I plan to come in and visit and see all of my prior students. But I want to say thank you to everyone who has been so supportive. And have a great summer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Rouleau. I'm a teacher assistant. I've been with Columbia. I'm at Columbia High School. I've been a teacher assistant for 23 and a half years. I want to thank all my colleagues, all the teachers, the administration. They've been tremendous to me. I also want to talk to you about the times with the kids. They were the most fulfilling. Especially two come to mind. One was Brandon Gooderman. He was in a wheelchair bounded. And by me getting him to the prom, it made the world to him and to me to see him get to the prom. The other one I'd like to talk to you about is Bradley Sweet. I took on Bradley in 5th grade. He was having a difficult time. He couldn't find a teacher assistant to work with him. I took him over 5th grade, hit it off really good, and spent 7 years working with Bradley and enjoyed every moment of him. I see his mom in the store. She thanks me every minute for being there and guiding him through. And again, I'd like to thank everybody at Columbia. They've been great to me. When I retire, I'm going to do some traveling. I also run a sports card store. I'm going to be busy doing a little bit of card shows and working with that. Seeing my 2 grandchildren in California and enjoying life. I want to thank everybody. It's been great.
Hi, my name is Katrina Gruitt, and I will be retiring this year from Columbia High School. I am a business teacher here, CTE department chair, and I've been at CHS for 13 years. I've enjoyed working with great colleagues at Columbia and especially preparing them for real life skills. It has been great to have our students have the opportunities to have college level courses. We have many business courses where they can accumulate up to 18 college credits, and I think that's been wonderful for us here at Columbia High School to be able to provide these opportunities for our students. Also, we have 3 pathways that our students can also pursue as well. Probably some of the reflection that when I look back, our department has always been very involved with doing exciting, fun activities with our students, and especially in finance. We feel that it's necessary for our students to have those skills, and we've done some awesome things with those activities. Our technology department, we have been implementing things as far as technology and business and technology go together as far as globally and within our world. So I am really excited what we are going to be continuing to do in the future with that. And hopefully I'll be able to come back and maybe offer something to the students or guide them in any way as well. So I think that's really about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Rosaire Higgins. I'm retiring this year. I've been in the East Greenbush School District teaching for a little over 26 years. My children went through the school system and I stayed home with them for a little bit, and then I went back to work and started my career at Green Meadow School, where I was fortunate enough to be mentored by some of the best people in the district, and it helped shape my career. As my kids went through the school system, I continued on my path. Probably after about 14 years, came over to Goff Middle School, and I've been working in 6th grade for the last 11 or 12, probably 13 years. Here, I've been able to work along some of the most qualified people in the education field, and I really owe a great debt of gratitude, and I'm not really sure what the right word would be, but my career here has been satisfying. A lot of that satisfaction has come from the connections that I made, not just with staff and colleagues, but with the community at large. So I feel like I'm blessed and that I'm leaving my career at its apex, and I have nothing but great respect for this district and what it's given me and my children, and I hope that as the years come and things change, that it continues to be a beacon in education, and everybody else will be as fortunate to go through this system as my kids have been and the students that I have taught. I'm not going to say I'm never going to do something, but initially I'm going to just take a pause. I have a new grandson coming in August, and both my grandchildren live equally 2 hours away from East Greenbush, one to the east, one to the west, so I'm gonna, watch those preschool years, and, we'll see. Hopefully I'll be busy, but I can see myself maybe doing some volunteer work for some causes that are near and dear to my heart, but I don't know for sure. I'm gonna just take a breath. I've been in the school cycle for 58 years, so I'm looking forward to not being on a school cycle and then just saying I'm going when I want to go and all that stuff. So I'm not making any major moves yet, but hopefully it'll all unfold. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the next chapter, and I'll be watching East Greenbush from the sidelines to some degree, but I'm sure I'll be involved in the community. I'm going to live here. I'm not leaving here. So it's important for me to make sure that, the community still is a great place to raise kids and live. So I'm excited for it all.
My name is Scott Halliday, and I am a music teacher here in East Greenbush. I've also have been serving as the music department chair for the last 20 years. My entire career in East Greenbush has been now 33 years, in which I'll be retiring in June. My first 10 years I spent at the middle school teaching music, where I did 7th and 8th grade band. I taught some general music and I did lessons. And then when retirement at the high school opened up, I came to the high school in 2002, and I've been here ever since. At Columbia, I have taught concert band, I've directed the symphonic band, the jazz band. I've been the pit orchestra director for actually 33 musicals now. And I've also been teaching a guitar class here that I instituted about 7 or 8 years ago, and that's been really enjoyable to me. My time in East Greenbush has been fantastic. I've had a lot of great colleagues that I've worked with just in general across the district, but the very special colleagues are the ones that are the music teachers that I've worked with. Just had a really great music program here, and that is really reflective of all of the wonderful teachers that I've had an opportunity to work with. They've been super great to work with as far as the collaboration and ideas that we've come together to create and develop our different programs through the general music program, the orchestra program, the choral program, and the band program. I've had some really fantastic students and experiences with students in my 33 years here, and that, I guess, would be the highlight of what I do as a teacher. I'm here for the students and to teach them music. As far as my future plans, I currently play in a wedding and party band, and I'm going to keep doing that. So my weekends will be filled with playing with a band called Funk Evolution. If that's something you want to check out, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time playing with them over the last 5 years, and I continue to do that in retirement. My wife is retiring as well. She's a retiring music teacher from South Colony High School. She was the high school orchestra director there. One of our bucket list items is to catch a baseball game in every stadium across the United States. So we're going to start in September by taking a trip out to Colorado to visit my sister, and on the way we'll collect a handful of baseball stadiums on the way out and several more on the way back. And then we will continue that little journey over the next several years. I'd like to thank the East Greenbush community for having me here. You know, it's been great. This was my career, and as many of you know, you select a career to make money to support a family, and my family has been supported through the earnings that I've made in the East Greenbush district over the last 33 years. I have 2 children. My son is a musician, a local musician, and my daughter has just finished her nursing degree. And we obviously will be spending time with them since they're both local. And we are, as parents, looking very much forward to being part of their lives and what the next steps are for them as well. So once again, thank you, East Greenbush community, for a great 33 years in East Greenbush.
Coming up on the school calendar, Goff Elevation Celebration will be held on Friday, June 27th at 7 p.m. in the Columbia High School gym. Columbia High School graduation is scheduled for Saturday, June 28th at 10 a.m. at Hudson Valley Community College. Congratulations to the class of 2025. And our special education summer school program starts on Monday, July 7th and runs through Friday, August 15th at Goff Middle School. That's it for today's episode of Let's Learn Together. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Have a great day.